Everybody rejoice, the Yuzuki family's 4 sons subtitles have been repaired. We can finally watch this show. After that debacle with those terrible subtitles, I am back. I've watched the first 3 episodes, and I can honestly say the Yuzuki family's 4 sons is an absolute treat. Go watch it. It's amazing. I love it. Now, there is personal reasons why a show like this honestly hits me a lot harder than what most people would probably experience, but if you love slice of life, if you love just wholesome, if you love to see family and family bonds and the struggles that people go through, the idea of loss but yet still coming together in the end, this show just oozes greatness. And I think it looks great visually. I love the designs and the characters and everything, the chemistry, everything. Let me jump into it. This is my first impressions, by the way. We should probably start off everything with the usual synopsis, but let's jump into it. The Yuzuki family's 4 sons opens up with the Yuzuki family's 4 sons. Yes, Hayato, who is the eldest, he's like 23. We have Mikoto and Minato, who are like 12 years old. They're about 11 months off from each other in age. Then we have Gakuto, who is the youngest. I think he's like 6 years old. And the 4 of these sons, despite the fact that they lost both of their parents at some point, have sort of come together to live together and move on with their lives together. Right after their parents' death, Hayato claimed to everybody that he was going to take care of his brothers. Everybody was, of course, saying, you know, let's send this son off to this family. We'll send them off to the uncle. We'll send them off to the aunt. He's like, no, we're staying together. I'll take care of it. I'll get a job and all this kind of stuff. Even though he was in college, he's like, I'll take care of everything. I don't want to split up my brothers. And he's been doing that, unfortunately, to his own health, as it seems like he is just overworking himself. In the first episode, we get a sense of how Minato, who is the 3rd son, he's kind of dedicated to the idea that he wants to help Hayato, the eldest brother. He's like, he's working himself to death. He's got his work that he's doing. He's coming home. He's doing laundry. He's doing cooking, all this kind of stuff. He's not getting any sleep. He's having to prep for the next day. He's stressing himself out. So he wanted to do something to help out. But unfortunately, it seemed like the eldest brother only really wants to assign Mikoto, who is the 2nd son, things to do. And so this is kind of bothering Minato because he wants to be helpful. And so the episode kind of plays out in the idea that frustration he's having, and at some point he ends up finding something that he could do, which is take Gakuto to some fireworks. And so Minato sneaks off with Gakuto and they go out and do fireworks. Eventually, he ends up losing track of Gakuto. Hayato figures it out, comes over there to try to find them, and they all enjoy the fireworks together. Eventually leading to Hayato finally agreeing to have Minato help with some things. He doesn't trust him too much, but he's gonna have him help with some things. In the second episode, the focus turns to the 2nd son. In this episode, at some point, Minato's friend asks Mikoto, like, why are you being nice to Minato? Like, he seems like he's really mean to you. Why are you so nice to him? Because we get a sense of that. Mikoto just is really kind to his brother, despite the fact that his brother's always like really mean to him and never address him as his elder brother. Well, through a flashback, we get to see Makoto at some point wasn't very nice to his younger brother. He really didn't like him. And this is mainly because the idea that, yes, he was born, and then literally within 11 months, he had a younger brother. And so his mother changed focus to him. And whenever there was an argument between the 2 of them, his mother always got onto him because he was the eldest, and that he should actually be the more grown-up. And this made him really despise his younger brother. He was always breaking his toys, always scribbling over his homework that he was going to get praised by his mother for. And it's through the conversation with the eldest brother that he finally realizes that, you know, look, I don't want us to be angry at each other all the time. Instead, he kind of shifts his focus to supporting his younger brother. And that's sort of how he's always been ever since then. And in the 3rd episode, we get the focus on the 4th and youngest son, Gakuto. Now, it's not just a focus on him, but it's also partially a focus on their neighbors, which are the people that live across the street from them. Through Gakuto's perspective, we're sort of seeing that transition period from the point in which the parents passed away and their new lives together. How Hayato is going far above and beyond in order to ensure anybody that is onlooking, anybody nearby, any other families, any other neighbors, that he is able to take care of his brothers, that he doesn't need anybody's help, and that to ensure that nobody's going to come by and force them apart. And yes, one such individual is an old man living across the street. This is a guy that every time one of them comes home, he's standing at the fence watching them. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't really respond to them as to give like a little courtesy bow. He just goes back into his house. Well, one day Gakuto comes home and his eldest brother doesn't arrive like he usually does. Like typically, Hayato, the eldest brother, the moment he gets done with work, he sprints over there to make sure that he gets there before Gakuto gets off the bus. But no, his brother's not there. And so he's sitting outside alone. And then the old man across the street welcomes him over, brings him inside, treats him to some apple juice, lets him watch some DVDs, some old samurai flicks and stuff like that, and they just have like a fun conversation between them. And Gakuto ends up discovering that this old man across the street was just trying to look for an opportunity and get the courage and the chance to go out there and talk with them. The old man was heartbroken the fact that they lost their parents, and he was always wanting to find an opportunity to help. Like, he wanted to offer his help if they ever needed it. He just never got the courage or the opportunity to ask. And basically it's through Gakuto that, yes, it's kind of a win-win situation, as this old man is kind of lonely and he's kind of wanting to help out. And on the opposite end, Hayato is a little bit more lax on how fast he needs to get home. Like, he's able to let this guy take care of Gakuto. So it kind of turns this little sweet thing where the youngest son is just kind of hanging out with this old man and they're playing shogi together and stuff like that. It's super cute. And Gakuto loves it because, unlike most parents and most people that he runs into, this old man's like the only one that actually treats him like he's not a little kid. And he sort of likes it. He talks to him like he's an equal. So they have a lot of fun together. Yeah, that's all to say that my thoughts on the Yuzuki family's 4 sons. I absolutely adore this show so freaking much. And I love that so far with these first 3 episodes, we pretty much got a perspective of everybody in a sense. Now, while we haven't had a Hayato like specific episode, most every episode somehow ties to Hayato in some way, because he's the one that's trying to be the breadwinner. He's trying to take care of his brothers. He's trying to keep them together. He's overworking himself. He's doing all these things in order to support each one of them. And they're all acknowledging what he specifically is doing. So he's kind of a part of every one of the stories. Additionally, yes, kind of getting a full story and an introduction to the neighboring family, which I think is going to be a critical part of the story. It's sort of like no, it's not the same, but it's got similarities there, is that March comes in like a lion thing, where you have the character who's over here, and every now and then he kind of interfaces with this family that's obviously probably lost the father figure of the house. And I think they all kind of accent each other great. But yeah, obviously the big draw to the show for me was the fact that, me personally, I am one brother of 3 brothers. We have no sisters. And so while we're short one brother, we're pretty much the Yuzuki family. Like, we each have our own personalities. We each have our struggles. Even me with one of my other brothers is pretty close in age. And so we have those difficulties as well of, respecting one another, even though we're pretty close in age. There's a lot of the spouts and stuff like that I can honestly say I feel you. Every single one of these characters have these issues, and I'm like, yeah, Gakuto, I understand what you're going through. Or, yeah, Minato, I know what you're going through. Or, yeah, Mikoto, I know what you're going through. I think the only one that I probably can't really relate to at all is going to be Hayato, because he's the eldest and I'm the youngest. But I can really feel myself in a lot of these characters. I really, the experiences and everything, it just hits home. Like, it's super relatable. It's the stuff that I've gone through. This is stuff that I can honestly feel, even though I haven't gone through them exactly. I can relate in some way. They're just, the chemistry between them and what they're going through it's super good. And it's super wholesome in a lot of regards. I think every single one of these episodes just has some amazing emotional hit point in it at some point. Like, with Gakuto's episode, it's just super sweet. And my heart breaks for it. And I just, the moment the old man opens up to him, it's like, oh, there, I love this guy. He's a good man. This guy's too good. The guy that you thought was going to be the grumpy old man, the one that's going to try to tear them all apart. But no, he's actually the one that just wants to help some way. Like, what can I do to help you guys? I feel bad. I want to help you. It's not like I have anything else I can really do. It's a win-win in a certain way, but it's just all the fact that he's just a big teddy bear. That's, in the end, it's just, he's a teddy bear. Now, I will admit, episode 1 wasn't like a big hitter. Like, it looked good. It was a great introduction to everybody, but it wasn't that I got too much out of it. I think the later parts of it, with Minato sort of being very fearful, the fact that he screwed up and he lost Gakuto, I think that part was fantastic. I think them in front of the fireworks was fantastic. But episode 2, I think, was the seller. If you can at least get to episode 2, that's where you really see this storyteller shine. I think the struggle between Mikoto and Minato, the middle 2 brothers, and again, they're like 11 months apart from each other, that struggle with the fact of being kind of forced to be the big brother, despite the fact that he hates his little brother. That episode was just way, way heavy hitting. Like, it's really a lot of aspects in the idea that it pulled off showing this downward spiral of an older brother and his dislike for his younger brother. And I like how every now and then it sort of try to portray his mindset in almost a artistic mental image. Like you get these little brief shots of like a very swiggly black background with white swiggle lines showing almost that outburst of anger and that frustration. It was almost like that. What I was sort of equating it to is sort of the internal emotion. Like, this is what it looks like inside my head, how I'm getting so angry right now, and I cannot hold myself back. It was that snapping point that it sort of portrays internally when he gets angry. It seems that I'm on the right track there because every other shot with, like, portrayal of him getting a toy and stuff from his older brother, it always kind of portrays that internal thing about how great that is for him, and it seems like it's him internalizing it. And I really do respect that sort of artistic choice because it takes it outside of the character designs and the normality of a slice of life setting that's not over the top and not overly artistic, and puts it into a realm of the imagination. And how that whole story itself sort of played out towards the later parts, him finally coming to some sort of understanding of his little brother, understanding what will kind of help the two of them be happier, him supporting his younger brother, seeing the joy that comes from that. Like, if I help my younger brother with his handwriting, we can go to the mother together, and look, he told mom that I was the one that helped him, and now I finally get that praise for something that I did good. Because on the opposite end, he realized that his younger brother is sort of frustrated because he's not as good as he is, despite the fact that they only have 11 months really separating them. And he's constantly trying to catch up with his older brother. Again, these are like kind of stories that I relate to in a lot of ways. And even if I can't directly relate to a lot of these stories, they are stories that are understandable. They're stories that hit because they're real. They feel real. Nothing here is over the top. Nothing here is trying to be fantastical. A lot of this is just down to earth, reality slice of life. And I absolutely love it. And then sprinkled throughout there is just some funny little comedy beats. It doesn't go out of its way to do some crazy slapstick comedy. It's not over the top comedy. A lot of this comedy is just based on just the happenings of the characters themselves. While it's not roll on the floor laughing comedy, it's just happenstance comedy that's just thrown in there that just works. Yeah, with all that said, I think I mentioned earlier, the visually, I love it. I love the designs. I think it looks great. It's not trying to do anything crazy or over the top, but it looks really good. The character designs are sharp. The close-ups of the characters look really good. The eyes and everything, the face shapes, it's very unique character designs to them. Gakuto is super cute. It's super adorable. He's super adorable. They're just nailing the character designs and everything, and it's on point. Everything about this show, besides the first episode when Crunchyroll first posted it and the subtitles were terrible, besides that little snag, it has been just 100%. I'm in love with this show. I just absolutely love this show. Love the characters and everything. So a super high recommendation for me if you're looking for a really solid slice of life. Kind of makes me really badly want another Minami K. When I first seen this show, I immediately thought of Minami K, and that one's basically a sister version of this one, but I'll take it. It's been fantastic so far. But that's my thoughts on the Yuzuki family's 4 sons. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure that like button down below, comment, let me know what you think of the series if you're going to be checking it out. Additionally, if you're new to the channel, make sure that subscribe button to get my content. I do news, reviews, first impressions, top list. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you want to support the channel more and you like this content, I have a Patreon link, tips link, super thanks, membership button down below. Greatly appreciate what it does, and y'all take care.